AMD stock has taken quite a hit from its overall highs of $264 that we saw less than a month ago. The stock is down roughly 23% as we do have this AI bubble fear, the end of the AI market, and all this and all that. But to be honest, with the market cap of $331 billion, I believe this is still $1 trillion opportunity. Let's take a closer look at why in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so welcome to another episode. My name's Jose Najarro, and I focus on the AI and semiconductor market. Obviously, a lot of AI stocks have taken quite a beating in the past few days. I mean, just this past Friday, we saw AMD down roughly 1%. In the past 5 days, the stock is down roughly 17%. Now, a lot of the negative fear is just overall driven by the AI market sentiment and this AI bubble. Now, it's crazy because just a few weeks ago, we saw all this massive growth opportunity that AMD presented during their earnings and during their financial day. And to me, someone who's been following this industry for such a long time, for Lisa Su to be as bullish as she is, because she's typically very, very conservative, gets me even more excited about the overall AI market, and especially for AMD. They were going to look at the mention of something like earnings per share of over $20 by 2030. If that is true, and you add just a PE ratio of 30, or 30 or forward PE ratio of 30, that gives AMD a stock price of over $600. Right. So there is that one, and that is a market cap. 3x is about a market cap of $1 trillion at the moment. So there is, in my opinion, huge potential for AMD stock. Now, it's never a guaranteed, but I believe the success rate due to the overall AI market and the AI demand that we're seeing is definitely a lot higher than failure. And that's how I like to look at my investments. So AMD, with this sell-off, I am now looking into increasing my overall position. Now, let's look at forward PE ratio. So forward PE ratio for AMD right now is sitting at 36.73, where its median is around 34.47. And to me, that is wild that, yes, it might be a little bit more expensive than its median, but there is such a brighter future than there's ever been, in my opinion. There is the excitement for the MI450. There's the excitement for AI market. There's the excitement of just growing a few single digit market shares that can make this completely different in forms of a revenue story. I mean, we saw for AMD's data center leadership in their financial AI, they believe during their financial analyst day, within the next 3 to 5 years, AMD is expected to see a 60% compounded annual growth rate on data center revenue. Expect over annual data center revenue of over $100 billion by the next 3 to 5 years. Even if we get it at the 5 year mark, right at the end of their timeline, I still believe that is extremely bullish for stock price appreciation. Now, this is my weekly AMD episode. We're going to see all the things impacting the overall stock. But if you haven't, make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. I provide free daily coverage on the most critical AI and semiconductor news, trying to filter out that noise for serious investors. My overall goal is 85,000 by the end of the year. I'm not sure if we're going to get there, but regardless, I'm still trying. Subscribe to the channel for daily thoughts. Now, if you want more than YouTube, I do have a community that is for serious AI and semiconductor investors. Deep dives on semiconductor and AI stocks, monthly live Q&A sessions. We even have AI agents working there to help provide a lot more information than I can by myself. Nobody else has a community with this type of technology right now. And I'm starting a Cyber Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale, 33% off annual subscription. Now, I'm just letting it know now, I'm only doing 3 offers or 3 sales for this program per year. So it's not something that that's going to be happening every month, every other month. It's only 3 offers per year. So use code CYBER to get those 33% off your annual subscription. Now, continuing in this long-term tailwind, this is what AMD gave us. And I'm just doing a quick refresh, right? Because the market seems to forgotten the growth potential for AMD. Revenue growth based on 2025 outlook is 35% compounded annual growth rate for the next 3 to 5 years. Gross margins 55 to 58%. Operating margins over 35%. Free cash flow margins about 25%. Earnings per share over $20 per share. This is the excitement for AMD. And like I mentioned, the market is still, in my opinion, not pricing it correctly. So we saw that for the next 12 months, the PE ratio, forward PE ratio, is about 36.73. Now, if we actually look at the estimates for December of 2026, earnings per share estimates is about $6.42. That would bring it down closer to like 34 earnings per share. But look, for December of 2027, so a little bit over 2 years from now, earnings per share median is around $10. For just a little bit over 2 years from now, that is right now a PE ratio of around 20, where AMD is sitting at. I personally believe that is extremely attractive based on the AI market right now. Now, obviously, if there is a slowdown in the AI space, this is something that would be a big risk. But all the data points that we're getting from the overall industry tells me that that's not the case. So I just wanted to bring a lot of the bullish sentiments back to AMD because I do believe the market is forgetting what AMD presented just a few weeks ago. Now, there are a few upcoming events. On December 3rd, AMD is going to be at UBS 2025 Global Technology and AI Conference. And on December 10th, they're going to be on Barclays. Again, if you are part of the community, I do provide deep dives on this and what they present. Now, AMD on November, I forget what this was, November 18th. So earlier this week, talked a little bit more about their sovereign AI solutions. So AMD and Eviden, the Atos group, product brand leading in advanced computing, announced their selection to build Alice, a next generation supercomputer to support the need for high performance computing and AI, serving as an AI factory. Alice will be France's first and Europe's second exascale computer. The project, representing over cost of 554 million euros, and is funded by the Euro HPC joint unit. Now, this Alice is actually going to be using the next generation AMD's MI430X GPUs, and it's also going to be using AMD's next generation CPU, Venice. This is an overall additive win for AMD because, I mean, $550 million to build this, at least a few $100 million of that, as we all know, the compute is the most expensive part of data centers, is going to go strictly to AMD from just one customer. Now, this is going to be composed of 94 racks. Alex is expected to be one of the top supercomputers in Europe for double precision, high performance computing workloads. So that is a huge win in my opinion. And remember, this isn't the first supercomputer. Just earlier in October, AMD announced two other computers in the United States, Lux and Discovery. So Lux and Discovery are going to be powered by two different types of GPUs. We first have Lux, I believe. Which one is this one? Lux will be powered by fifth generation AMD EPYC CPUs and AMD's Instinct MI355, and it will be deployed in early 2026. Then you have Discovery. These two are already announced. The one I announced previously is brand new, but just kind of a rehash that AMD is definitely going to have a nice few $100 million customers coming from these players, right? AMD Instinct MI430 GPU and AMD EPYC Venice CPUs. So sovereign AI is becoming a strong, strong market for AMD. And definitely, like I mentioned, if you start to add all these together, could definitely in a long-term few-year revenue be multi-billion-dollar market. Now, AMD does power some of the top supercomputers thanks to their AMD 250X, the MI300A, and the MI430X, which are meant to do those high performance computing where you need FP64 opposed to some typical AI computing where you need kind of FP8, right? So that's the big difference between AMD solutions and why the way they design the chips, they can design it a little bit different to fit certain workloads. And a lot of those workloads in sovereign AI need kind of those higher precision models. Now, AMD is also continues to lead the top 500 list, powering 40% of the top 10 fastest supercomputers in the world, including the world's fastest supercomputer, El Capitan, and the world's first true exascale system. From overall, AMD powers an impressive 177 systems on the top 500 list, representing 35% of the world's most powerful computer. So there is some strength here with AMD's product, right? And everybody seems to have forgotten as the stock is down roughly 16% in the past 5 days. Now, AMD on November 17th also announced something interesting. They are expanding their space grade portfolio to have more capabilities for selected markets. Now, for those that are not familiar, this is part of AMD's embedded market, which is aerospace and defense, kind of the robotics industry. And this is not a product that's going to be something that helps move the needle in forms of revenue or should move the stock price, but it just showcases that AMD continues to get design wins in the embedded market, which is typically a very strong free cash flow machine for them. Here, for example, in the embedded compute, design wins since 2022 is over $36 billion in a lot of various industries, from automotive, data center, wired and wireless, aerospace and defense, and the industrial space. Now, the next thing I want to take a closer look at is AMD on November 19th announced a joint venture to deliver up to 1 gigawatt of AI infrastructure by 2030, starting with a 100 megawatt deployment in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to power the global AI ecosystem with cost efficient, high performance infrastructure. Now, this is going to begin operations in 2026. And the first phase of 100 megawatts is expected to be using AMD's MI450 series CPUs. And I'm going to guess most likely they're CPUs as well. I meant the MI450 GPUs here. But here you can see in the short term, an extra 100 megawatts of AI infrastructure is again another multi-hundred million dollar opportunity of MI450 sales. So you just start adding all these up and up and up, and you can see the nice growth opportunity for AMD in the foreseeable future. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is Nvidia recently saw reports that the US might be letting Nvidia sell the H1200 chips to China. Now, obviously, that's creating a lot of excitement for Nvidia. But if this is true, I would expect the same to happen to AMD. AMD would be able to sell the MI300, maybe even potentially the MI350, which is the competitor of Nvidia's H200. So if this is true, even though Nvidia is the headline because it is the biggest company and the one that focuses the most, it does open up the opportunity for AMD to get wins in here. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick update on AMD. The stock price is down, but I'm even more and more excited about its potential than I was just a few months ago due to the various sentiments that we're seeing in the AI market and due to the various discussions that management shared during their financial analyst day. Now, again, if you want to be part of an awesome community, make sure to join me at whatthechiphappened.com. We have use code CYBER, right? Like I mentioned, code CYBER to get 33% off. Join the community. I will not be having many offers or sales per year, only 3 per year. So take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.